By now you've heard of Jay Jones. He's the man whose texts were just uncovered, revealing his true thoughts on Republicans. A couple of years ago, apparently he had a text exchanged with a friend. He was talking about Todd Gilbert, Speaker of House at the time, and he revealed just what he thinks about Republicans. What he texted was repugnant. It was disgusting, and we're going to go into that briefly. Then we're going to talk about solutions, because it's tempting to think of Jay Jones as someone evil. But the truth is, he's just a man, and he's a product of a leftist system of education. We need to look at that, because as much as I like the Trump administration and what they're doing, Ron DeSantis had one good thing going for him. He understood the power of the university and the College of Education and what it does to the public. I wish the Trump administration would take this a little more seriously. They do to a certain extent, but sometimes solutions are provided which aren't good for the long run. For example, right now, what we're doing with Antifa, loving it, love to see Portland being cleaned up. This is good. Antifa does need to be called out and taken out. However, we're still not getting to the root of the problem. We're going to go ahead and get rid of some of the protesters in Portland and clean it up, make the streets safer. But next administration is coming in, things are just going to go right back to where they were, unfortunately. Portland isn't going to change permanently. We do have solutions available to us to change things permanently. And right now, historically, this is an important time in America's evolution. So let's go over that. And let's start out by examining Jay Jones real quickly and what he did and how disgusting it was, and then go into how we can take care of this and change things for the better, legally, sanely, and without violence. So, meet Jay Jones, everybody. Here he is on his own website. Meet Jay. Jay Jones is a former assistant attorney general and lawmaker, a husband and a dad to 2 boys, which is all the more alarming when you read what he wrote. Running for attorney general to fight for Virginia families. Apparently, he's not fighting for Virginia families. He's only fighting for Democrat families in Virginia, because after you see what he wrote, he's certainly not fighting for Todd Gilbert and his family, or by extension, any Republican family, when you see how he stereotypes. And apparently he wants to stand up to Donald Trump's dangerous agenda. Yeah, that dangerous agenda that is cleaning up Democrats' mess. Here's the text line that was exposed. It's his friend starting out, then him responding in white. In blue is his friend. They say nice things about everyone. They're talking about Todd Gilbert, and this person's being sarcastic. If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals to piss on their graves, send them out awash in something. So as we can see, this man is an extremist. He has no business being anywhere near the office of Attorney General or in our judicial system. And he's reflecting the frame of mind of a 13-year-old mad at mommy and daddy. Jay Jones, his friend, responds, trying to calm him down a little bit. 3 people, 2 bullets, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. So he's comparing the Speaker of the House to Hitler and Pol Pot, which is so irrational, it doesn't even deserve. It's amazing that a man like this, in this position in life, would actually make that comparison. But this is a man who is a product of a leftist educational system. I want to show that to you, because we're not looking at someone who's evil. We're looking at someone who has generally streamlined his thinking with other leftists. Right here. Jay, please stop. Laugh out loud. Okay. It really bothers me when you talk about hurting people or wishing death on them. So apparently, Jay here has said things like this before. This isn't the first time. This goes to show some type of recurring pattern with this man. All the more reason to get him out. Over here. You weren't simply asking questions, and you know it. This person knows Jay deep down. I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you, because I believe the person he's talking to does have Republican affiliations. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. And therein lies the difference. You see, we're seeing murders right now happen in society. We saw Irina, we saw Charlie Kirk, we saw Trump assassination attempts twice, and we're seeing a number of different cases of leftist political violence because it has become normalized. They don't perceive these things as something to be dodged. They see them as part of a revolution. So this is enough for Jay. Let's move forward. I want to show you something real quickly. Right here. This is primarily why conservatives have such a hard time understanding the left and why the left is getting away with what they get away with. This is a really interesting article. If you're interested in reading a book, I highly recommend going deeper into this subject, but I'm going to sum it up for you here. Conservatives basically are historical empiricists. Liberals, or anybody on the left, are traditionally rational idealists. Conservatives, we tend to be people who look out in the world of reality, and when we want to improve upon something or change something, we look at what has been established historically, and then we build upon it from there. James Madison, for example, was a person who was in a conservative frame of mind when he was writing the Constitution, along with others, of course, and when the founders were getting together, but mostly it was directed. He was one of the big thinkers. That's James Madison. He was one of the most influential in the Federalist Papers, too. He was in a conservative frame of mind. It's no surprise that we now have the executive, the judicial, and the legislative branches of our government, because over in Britain, they had the crown, the legislative, and the judicial, you see. That's historical empiricism, looking back on what is already established, building upon it from there. Then you have liberals or leftists in general, especially those on the far left, who are rational idealists. They're not interested in what currently is. They believe in what should be. And they all have their own versions in their mind of what should be. This is why socialism still exists in their mind, because they, in their own mind, think they have the new and improved version of it. They refuse to deal with the actual reality. And this is one thing we need to understand as conservatives, is who these people are and why communism keeps its influence in our society up until today. It's not because they're evil people, it's because they are idealists who refuse to deal with the world of reality. And we need to get it through our heads. If we're going to change them, we need to meet them on their playing field. Where is their playing field? It's the university system and the college of education. Like I said before, as much as I like Trump, the man does a lot that's good for America. Ron DeSantis, though, in this particular case only, understood the value of getting to the left in their universities. We need to learn that. We can. What does the left learn in their universities? Well, take a look. Meet Franz Fanon. Revolutionary, according to the left. And yes, he was a Marxist right here. Take a look. This is the Marxist Internet Archive. I'm pointing that out because it's really important, because whenever you talk to people on the left about Marxists, they try to tell you that you're involved with some type of conspiracy theory. No. This Communist Party USA came over here in the 20s, and ever since the 1920s, all up through the 30s, 40s, and 50s, communism in America has gone through different stages. But to be a progressive, the origination of the term was to be a communist. Communists disguised themselves as the term progressive when it became non-fashionable to be a communist back in the day. Why did it become non-fashionable? Partly because America was coming down on communism, and partly because it was being exposed by Russia. People didn't see how bad communism was at the time because we didn't have the technology to have what was happening in Russia right in front of our face instantaneously like we do today. That is, we didn't have social media, TV, and a lot of other things that exposed everything right there on the spot. Back then, everybody got their information by newspaper, so they were slow to receive things. Make a long story short, it started to become unfashionable to be a communist because the atrocities of Joseph Stalin were being exposed. Millions of people were being slaughtered. Not only that, but then we had in America, slowly but surely, our judicial system was awakening up to the atrocities of communism and how it was infiltrating America as well. Put those two together. Yes, instead of being a communist, suddenly they were calling each other progressives. That's the origination of the term. And still today, the reason I'm bringing that up is these are today's progressives. They are communists. They don't embrace communism in the formal way that they did back then, but they still embrace the far left ideology that contains everything within it, just with different terms. So, who is Frantz Fanon? Well, it's important to understand that in leftist ideology, colonialism and nationalism are evils. Basically, they're looking to take them down anywhere and in any way they can. That is their primary objective, among other things. Of course, they do that by instituting their identity politics, which hinges on intersectionality and all kinds of other things. But the point is, they're after nationalism and they're after colonialism. Whenever you see it on the news all the time, too, by the way. You don't even have to be in the universities to see the stuff. Frantz Fanon was the one who advocated for violence to take down colonialism. That's why he's so important. When you see leftists out there, they believe strongly that any violent reactions they have to or any violence they instigate against colonialism or nationalism, or which pretty much translate to anything on the right, it's completely justified in their eyes. It's as normal as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They wouldn't even flinch about it, and this is why. Moving forward, take a look at this right here. This is another website regarding Frantz Fanon, Renewal of the Marxist Formula. And then let's move forward here. He wrote many different books that were brought into critical theory and then became part of critical race theory, which was a part of our law schools basically at the time, especially in the 70s and 80s, along with authors like Derek Bell and others who incorporated radical stuff like this in their thinking. This is his book, The Wretched of Earth, and as you can see right here, it's a topic concerning violence, because without going deep into his theories, the bottom line is Frantz Fanon advocated violence for revolutionary activity and defeating colonialism, and any form of violence was justified, and you didn't owe anyone any apologies. Guess who embraces them? Yeah, take a look right here. You know it, Barack Obama. And Obama he's tried many times to distance himself from Fanon. He tried to say, in interviews, he would say, oh, I was just young and I was trying to impress the ladies by reading extremists and quoting extremists. Nonsense, Barack Obama. America was on a solid path to very productive race relations until Obama came along and pretty much set everything back another 40, 50 years with critical race theory and theories of this guy right here. It's amazing how he will deny it too, but the point is, Jay Jones is a millennial. Who was he looking up to when he was exploring his political possibilities? Barack Obama, of course, the man who was president during his age. Jay Jones went to different universities. What did he learn? This stuff right here. Critical theory, which embraces critical race theory and people like Frantz Fanon who advocate for violence. Why did we see Jay Jones's text? Because he believes it is absolutely normal. Is Jay Jones by himself and unique? No, he is not. This is what I want to stress personally. This is the stuff that scares the living hell out of me. See, people want to believe Jay Jones is evil. To me, that's not scary because he's not evil. What's scarier is he's just your typical leftist extremist. It's not him. None of this is limited to Jay Jones. This is most of the leftists you will find, for example, in the House of Representatives. This is most of the leftists you will find in our Senate. This is most of the leftists you will find in the universities, in the liberal arts departments in particular. This is not unique to Jay Jones. This is scarier than evil. This is in our front yard. And if we don't get to this, if we don't direct our attention to universities, we're going to see more of this stuff. All right, let's wrap this video up. I think I've made my point. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to go into Hillary Clinton as well, and how she was devoted to Saul Alinsky and how she eventually ended up going to a communist law firm in California. And of course, the owners were telling everybody that they weren't communists because it's no longer fashionable to call yourself a communist. But yes, they were. She drove 3,000 miles to not get paid as an intern to work in this law firm. Yeah, you think she wasn't committed to being far left? And I wanted to touch on a couple other things too, especially Federalist Paper number 10, because we do have, in examining Federalist Paper number 10 and what James Madison wrote here in particular, we do have solid logic to take action that we wouldn't necessarily undertake in times like these. Legally and not legally, believe it or not, but we can't go there. This is what we're going to do. I just want to end this with, please, on the right, we need to direct ourselves to the attention of where problems are rooted. We need to grab the problem by the roots and weed it out. I love what we're doing with Antifa. I absolutely love what Trump's doing too in his second administration. If you follow my channel, you hear how many compliments I give him. Unfortunately, with respect to violence like this, especially with the case of Jay Jones, what we're seeing here is the established norm within the far left. We're not going to change them or in any way, shape, or serious fashion until we address the problem at the university roots and then get into the College of Education and change what teachers are using to educate their students with. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this. Sorry I couldn't go any deeper. Take care and see you in my next one.